What if Deku stayed quirkless? Chapter 5. The crowd booed and shouted. What the hell? We want to fight. Where did he go? Yelled the crowd. It looks like Ida has forfeited the match. So I guess Bakugo is the winner, said Present Mike. Bakugo stood in the middle of the stage, dumbfounded. What? He asked. Bakugo stood for a second longer, then let out a massive explosion into the air. Damn it! What the hell? Yelled Bakugo. The medal ceremony went forward, with Deku getting a bronze medal alongside Tokoyami, and with Bakugo getting gold. Ida was supposed to get the silver medal, but he left with his mother before he could accept it. The day ended, and everyone went home, annoyed. A lot of the matches were amazing, but that final, what was that about? Yelled the crowd. A lot of people went home confused, until they looked at the news and saw what happened to Ingenium. Then they understood. That was his brother in the tournament. Well, no wonder he didn't want to fight. He must have found out just before the fight, said the crowd. The next day, Ida walked into class and everybody looked at him, not knowing what to say. Deku walked over to him. You doing alright, man? Deku asked. Yeah, I'll be fine. Thanks, said Ida. The class took a breath as the two sat down. Aizawa walked in, standing at the podium. Okay, everyone. You all did well at the sports festival. This has allowed lots of Pro Heroes agency to scout you. Next week, you'll begin your internships. Your choice, you'll have to go with the people on your lists. Aizawa handed out lists to the students. Some pupils who were very short with only a couple of names, whereas some, like Bakugo, had thousands. Make sure you choose carefully, as the contacts and skills you learn will stick with you forever. The class nodded and Aizawa left the room. Deku began flicking through his list. He had gotten quite a few invitations, but was only looking for ones in a specific area. Deku stopped when he saw someone's name he didn't expect to see. Endeavor. Why does he want me? Maybe because I beat Todoroki? Asked Deku. Deku kept flicking through until he found the one that he was looking for. A week passed pretty quickly, and it was time for the internships to begin. Ida and Deku walked towards the train station and set off for Hosu City. An hour later they arrived and walked over to Manuel's agency. Wow, this is amazing. I never thought that anyone from UA would want to come to my agency, let alone two of you, said Manuel. Oh, yeah. See, we would be better for us to get some more down-to-earth view of the streets, said Deku. Manuel nodded, walking them around the offices. It's pretty small, but we are growing quickly, said Manuel. The two boys walked around the office, pretending to be interested. The rest of the day slowly dragged on, with Deku and Ida growing more frustrated. In the afternoon, Deku and Ida sat in their accommodation. Today was a waste of time, said Ida. Not entirely. Told us that we don't have a plan. Seriously, it's not like he's just going to let us run off for hours, said Deku. I won't need hours, said Ida. Don't be stupid. This is a massive city and we have nowhere to start. The week slowly progressed. Each day Ida got more frustrated whilst Deku was investigating where the hero killer could be. Hey guys, how about we go on patrol tonight, said Manuel. Deku and Ida jumped to their feet. Yes, that would be amazing, said Ida. Deku and Ida ran up to the changing rooms and putting on their hero costumes, then met Manuel up front of the agency. Manuel led them down to the street and began to talk. What is important is to show your face in public. If the civilians see you around, they'll feel safer when something does happen. If you spend all your time in your offices, the public might feel like they can't rely on you, and we can't have that. It also acts as a deterrent to wannabe villains. Someone might be thinking about robbing that corner shop, but will change their minds because they saw us, said Manuel. Deku and Ida nodded. Of course they already knew all this, but it was good to hear it. The day dragged on slowly, with the two of them not getting any closer to their goal. Okay guys, I think we should head back now, said Manuel. The two students nodded, but before they could turn around their eyes were shaken by a massive explosion. They turned to see flames reaching high into the sky. Could this be? Asked Ida. No, this is someone else. This isn't his style, said Deku. The heroes rushed over to the scene. When they arrived, they saw several large Nomus tearing up the place. What the? Nomu? Asked Deku. Immediately, Manuel broke open a fire hydrant and directed the water towards the Nomu. "Ida, Deku, get those civilians out of here," said Manuel. Deku and Ida ran over to a group of people and sprinted them to safety. As they ran back, Deku slowed down for a second, thinking. Ida stopped going over to him. "What's wrong?" asked Ida. "I think I know where he is," said Deku. Ida's eyes went wide. "Let's go then," said Ida. Immediately the two of them took off at max speed. Deku struggled to keep up, but Ida had to slow down for the tight alleys so he didn't pull ahead. The two ran for ages, searching deep in the city, that when they heard a soft whimper, they rounded the corner to see Stain holding a hero by the face. "Pathetically weak," said Stain. "Villain, face me," said Ida. Stain turned his head looking at Ida. "And who are you, boy?" said Stain. "I'm the brother of a hero you hurt." "I am Ingenium," yelled Ida. "You don't seem very grateful for me not gutting your brother like the rat he is," growled Stain. "You bastard, I'm gonna kill you," yelled Ida. Deku's eyes went wide. He thought that Ida just wanted to take Stain down. Just like your brother. You aren't a hero," growled Stain. Stain threw a knife straight at Ida's face, but Deku caught it. The blade hung inches from Deku's eye. Deku lowered his arm, walking towards Stain. "You can't beat us. Surrender before you get hurt," said Deku. Stain drew his sword. "You seem awfully confident in your abilities," said Stain. "They have never let me down. I'm sure I can handle a punk with a couple of knives," said Deku. Stain lunged forward, intending to impale Deku on his sword, but as the blade approached Deku, he leaned back, bringing his leg up underneath the sword. Deku kicked the sword high into the air, and took a step backwards, catching it. Deku did a quick flourish, and got into a deep stance. "I like the sword, but I don't think it fits with my costume," said Deku. Deku went in for an attack, but something tore past him. A silver blur smashed into Stain's chest, throwing him back. Deku looked over to see Ida standing over Stain, his engines roaring with power. "When did he?" asked Deku. Ida grabbed Stain by the throat, slamming into a wall. The brick cracked and splintered with the force. "I'm going to end you," said Ida. Deku sprinted over, shoving Ida off Stain. "Ida, no, we don't kill," said Deku. "I don't care, I'm going to put him in the ground," said Ida. Ida stepped towards the villain, but Deku blocked him. "Your brother wouldn't want this. He wouldn't want you to... You wouldn't want you to throw your life away," said Deku. "Get out my way," said Ida. Ida tried to get past Deku, but Deku refused to move. "I won't let you kill him," said Deku. Ida powered up. "Don't make me force you to move," said Ida. "You can't," said Deku. Behind Deku, Stain was beginning to get to his feet. Ida had hit him very hard. He turned to see the hero standing off. Stain pulled out a knife and attempted to stab Deku in the back, but Deku spun around, kicking the villain in the face. As soon as Deku did that, Ida brought his leg up, kicking Deku in the side. Deku slammed into the wall, and Ida slipped past him. "No you don't," said Deku. Deku grabbed his brand new binding cloth, given to him by Aizawa, and flicked it towards Ida. Just as Ida was about to grab Stain, the cloth wrapped around his ankle, slamming him into the ground. Stain saw this and tried to stab down on the defenseless Ida, but Deku yanked the cloth back, saving Ida. Ida slid across the ground as Deku ran past him. Stain launched another attack, but Deku grabbed his arm, twisting around, then slamming into a wall. "Stay put," said Deku. Deku ducked, just in time to dodge a massive kick from Ida. "Seriously, dude, stand down. I don't want to hurt you," said Deku. "I beat you before, I can do it again," said Ida. Deku sighed, clicking his knuckles. "Don't be so sure," said Deku. Ida and Deku shot towards each other. Ida accelerated to maximum, shooting like a cannonball towards Deku, but Deku was unfazed. He flicked the binding cloth, wrapping it around Ida's chest, then yanked him down. Ida was pulled off his feet, and his face met Deku's knee with a sickening crunch. Ida didn't stop though. Using the strength of One for All, he burst free of the binding cloth and jumped to his feet. Blood poured out of his nose. "I didn't want to do that. Please, let's just arrest him," said Deku. Ida didn't respond. He shot forward again, coming in for a massive kick. Deku sighed reluctantly as he dropped his stance. Deku's fist met Ida's leg and he spun past the attack, unloading the kinetic energy into Ida's gut. Ida was thrown down the alley but got quickly back to his feet. Quit being an idiot and stay down," said Deku. As Deku was saying this, Stain had grabbed his sword and swinging the jagged blade towards the pro-hero who was lying in the alley. "And that goes for you too," said Deku. Deku spun around, launching a massive kick into the sword. Instantly the blade shattered all over the alley. "What? How?" asked Stain. "I've got iron soles in my boots. Great for training and for that. Now sit down and wait your turn," said Deku. Stain pulled out another knife, but before he could use it, Deku grabbed him by the head and slammed him into the ground. "There, Ida, he's defeated. You don't need to kill him," said Deku. "I don't care," said Ida. Ida shot forward, intent on crushing the hero killer, but Deku knew this would happen. Ida came in for a massive axe kick, but Deku leapt forward, tackling Ida to the ground. Ida punched Deku in the back and threw him down the alley. As Deku flew, he turned around, flicking his binding cloth. It wrapped around Ida's arm, and when Deku gave it a tug, he stopped flying down the alley and Ida was pulled away from Stain. "Get out of my way, Deku. You won't understand," said Ida. Ida turned to face Deku and punched the ground in frustration. "He's killed so many and he paralyzed my brother. This monster is who you are protecting," yelled Ida. "I'm not protecting him. I'm protecting you. If you kill him, you aren't better than him," said Deku. "I've made my peace with that," said Ida. Deku shot towards Ida, landing a massive kick in the small of his back. Ida was forced to the ground as Deku got between him and Stain. "Stop getting in my way," yelled Ida. Ida came in for a punch, which Deku batted aside and countered with several quick jabs to Ida's face and stomach. Ida flinched for a second, then hit back with a massive kick. Deku lowered his stance, letting the kick move over him, then shot more quick jabs into Ida's thigh. Ida staggered, struggling to stay on his feet. "You're feeling numb, aren't you now? I hit the less important pressure points. I don't want to hurt you, but I will if I have to," said Deku. "Well, if I'm numb, I won't feel the pain anymore," said Ida. Ida closed his eyes, and Deku saw the lightning around him grow brighter. 10%, yelled Ida. "No, don't be an idiot, you'll hurt yourself," said Deku. "I won't need to go this far if you just let me kill him," yelled Ida. Deku got into a stance. "That's not happening," said Deku. Ida shot at Deku, but even the increase in speed, he couldn't land a single hit. Ida launched a massive kick after massive kick, and they were all dodged or redirected. Deku dodged past another kick, getting right in his face, then punched him hard in the gut. He then kicked Ida in the mouth, knocking him onto his back. "You won't beat me again, especially not here. Your moves are too predictable, and in this limited space, it's even worse. There's only one direction you can attack from, and it makes it easy to beat you. I'm sorry, but this is over," said Deku. Deku pulled back his fist, ready to knock Ida out, but Ida put up his hands. "Alright, you win. Just go get some rope and we can tie him up," said Ida. Deku walked down the alley to the dumpster, when Ida got up and turned to face Stain. Deku kept an eye on him out of the corner of the eye, but he wasn't fast enough to stop what happened next. Stain picked up one of the broken bits of sword and stabbed Ida in the gut. Ida coughed up blood, falling to the ground. Stain then yanked the blade out of Ida and stood up. "Disgusting false heroes," said Stain. Deku screamed in anger, flicking his binding cloth towards Stain. He was aiming for his chest, but Stain slashed the cloth before it could make contact. Deku sprinted forward, pulling the cloth back as he did, but Stain grabbed hold of it, launching himself towards Deku. "He's crafty," said Deku. Deku ducked Stain's attack, then launched towards him. The first hit knocked the blade out of his hand, and the second crushed the bones in his shoulder. Stain's arm hung limply at his side, but he didn't let up. He slashed at Deku's face with another bit of broken blade, but Deku narrowly dodged. Before Stain could bring the blade back around, Deku headbutted Stain, shattering his nose, then did a jumping spin kick, landing his heavy steel boots into the villain's head. Stain slumped to the ground unconscious, and Deku tied him up. Deku ran over to Ida, who was bleeding out on the ground. "Ida, how are you?" said Deku. Deku knelt down beside him and saw the amount of blood he was losing. Deku pulled out his phone and sent out an emergency alert to his classmates and any nearby heroes. "I know they are busy, but I've got to hope they come." Deku then called an ambulance. Deku unbound his binding cloth and pressed it down hard on the wound. "I'm sorry if this hurts," said Deku. Ida was barely conscious. "Somebody please come," said Deku. Suddenly, Deku heard a soft whimper from Ida. "Deku, please, take one for all. You can't let it die with me," said Ida. "Don't be stupid, you aren't going to die. You're just going to be fine," said Deku. Slowly, Ida raised his hand up to his head and pulled out her hair. "Please, eat it," said Ida. "No." "There's no need. You'll be fine, you'll see," said Deku. Ida's eyes began to slowly close when suddenly Todoroki came rushing around the corner. "Hey guys, what's the issue?" "Oh my god," said Todoroki. Todoroki cut himself off when he saw Ida bleeding out on the floor. "Todoroki, I don't know what to do. The bleeding won't stop," said Deku. "What happened?" said Todoroki. "We kind of found the hero killer and beat him," said Deku. Todoroki looked behind Deku and saw Stain slumped on the floor. "I think I can help," said Todoroki. Todoroki pulled up his sleeve and heated up his hand. He gently placed it on Ida's stomach and increased the temperature. "This will hurt like hell, Ida. I'm sorry, but I have to cauterize the wound," said Todoroki. Todoroki increased the temperature and Ida woke up. Ida screamed and Deku tore off his sleeve and put it in Ida's mouth. "I can't let him bite his tongue," said Deku. Todoroki continued and then suddenly stopped. "I've done all I can," said Todoroki. As Todoroki said that, the ambulance crew and Endeavor ran round the corner. "Shoto, what's the situation?" said Endeavor. "Midoriya took down the hero killer and Ida is injured," said Todoroki. Endeavor looked behind Todoroki and saw Deku. "You, boy, what is your quirk?" asked Endeavor. "You managed to defeat my Shoto and the hero killer with only minor injuries. Not many could achieve that," said Endeavor. "My quirk? Oh, I don't have one. I'm quirkless," said Deku. Endeavor froze. He was very confused. The next day, Ida woke up in a hospital. Next to him sat Deku. "Oh, you're finally awake," said Deku. Ida sat up, wincing in pain. "Oh, why does my stomach hurt so bad?" asked Ida. "Do you not remember the stabbing?" asked Deku. "Oh, yeah, that," said Ida. "I'm sorry, I beat you up really bad," said Deku. "It's okay. I should be the one to apologize. I was being stupid," said Ida. "Yes, you were, but I understand why. I couldn't have kept a level head in that situation," said Deku. "We good then?" asked Ida. "Hell yeah, buddy," said Deku. Deku and Ida clasped hands, then stood up. Then Deku stood up. Not Ida. He's in bed. "You know, this makes us even now, right? 1 win each. We need a rematch," said Deku. Ida laughed, laying back down. "Always thinking about fighting, huh?" "Sure, just let me heal first," said Ida. "Don't worry, recovery call will be in soon," said Deku. End of chapter 5.